Let's take a look at why I think that July is going to be quite a bumper month for our Bitcoin miners. And before we get going anywhere, if you've been with us for a while and haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It does wonders for the channel, and I would greatly appreciate that. So I'm going to look at the five that I generally like to look at the most here. That's going to be Bitfarms, BitDigital, Riot, Mar, and CleanSpark. I'm going to look at their history in July and then kind of speculate what I'm thinking could potentially happen in July this year based off of that information. And so I've been saying for a little while now that I think that at least sometime this summer, I'm thinking probably July, we're going to see, at least by that time, some sort of decent move up in these stocks. And I kind of want to show you now why I think that. I have the monthly chart up here. So each of these candles represents 1 month on the chart here, and let's take a look at what has happened historically in July. So this is Bitfarms. We're going to start with Bitfarms. So they started trading in August 2019, so we're going to have to go to 2020 July to see that. So July 2020, they were up 22.21%. July 2021, they were up 6.35%. July 2022, they were actually down 10%. No, that was August. July 2022, which, if you remember, was a horrible, horrible year. They were actually up 30.36% in one of the worst years in recent memory, up over 30%. 2023 July, so the last July, they were up 27%. So they have been positive every single July since they've been trading. And I am expecting that trend to continue. So we've been seeing 2 months of red so far. I don't think that the last 2 days of trading in April will turn it green. So we've got 2 months of red here. I am expecting potentially to see either flat or slight moves up over the next couple of months, followed by a larger move up. And honestly, it can move anywhere, as we saw, between 6 and 30%. So on Bitfarms, if we got a move up, let's say it closes where it currently is. Let's just say it closes at $2 for the month, 201. So if we got a 6% move up by July from the bottom of that, we'd be looking at $2.14 if we got a 6% move up from our current level around $2. Okay, let's see on the upper end, 30%, we would be looking at $2.60. So we'd be getting back up into this channel here. That, I mean, we could see a much bigger move. As you can see, we have seen bigger moves than that in the past. Not in July, but in other months. Usually November and December is when you get the really big moves. And the biggest candles we've seen on here, 49%, yeah, about 201%. Just in December 2023, we got a 100% move. Now, I don't think we'll get that, but I do think we'll range anywhere between 6 to 30%. Maybe we'll get a 50% move on that, which would take us back up to the top of the range of this flag back here that we started in December, which would take us up to $3 on Bitfarms. So I'm looking at, it's not like an absolutely epic run on Bitfarms for the summer, but I am looking for something potentially up as high as $3 from our current position at $2, which would be a significant increase from our current position. That'd be pretty fantastic. I think I would be very happy to take that and see Bitfarms at that level. Let's take a look at CleanSpark. Now, for CleanSpark, it's a little different. They didn't actually start Bitcoin mining until December 2020. And you can see here in December 2020, they actually ran up 166% after they started mining Bitcoin. They did it in 1 month. That's pretty crazy. So basically, for CleanSpark, this is the only area we're looking at. The shaded area is all we're looking at in terms of their history of mining Bitcoin. So that's what we're going to look at now. All this before that doesn't matter in respect to what I'm looking at because they weren't mining Bitcoin back then. So their very first July after mining Bitcoin was actually very negative. It was negative 18.87%. But that was during a time when they were giving back this giant God candle from December 2020. They were giving that back all the way until September 2021, and then they finally started seeing some moves up on that. So we really only have a couple of years of data for July in CleanSpark as a Bitcoin miner, but let's take a look at them anyways. So we were looking at, so that first July we said was negative, minus 18.87%. That was as they were dropping massively off of that huge run up in December 2020. So let's take a look at 2022. What happened in July 2022? It was actually up 1.79%. And in 2023, it was up 40%. So I mean, that's a huge range. I think the healthier, we're going to err to the upper side on this and say somewhere between 10 and maybe even 50% up in July. Now, let's just say we close the month out at 20, right? Let's just say that's what happens here for the sake of argument. If we were to move up anywhere between 10 and 40% on CleanSpark currently, we would move, for argument's sake, we're going to go to 20. 10% would take us to about $22 by the end of July, which I'd be very happy to have that. That'd be pretty great, pretty nice move on my CleanSpark position. And if we were to do a 50% move up, we would be looking at about $30 on CleanSpark. So we can move anywhere between $22 and $50 on CleanSpark by the time July comes around. And as we've seen, July tends to be, aside from that one outlier on that very first year of Bitcoin mining when things were coming down, 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 down for CleanSpark, every other month was positive, anywhere between 2 to 40% on the closure of July. So we can expect anywhere from $22 to $31 on CleanSpark to have that kind of average move for July this year. Let's hope that it's to the to the upper end, especially since they've been absolutely executing on all of their plans for the year. And if they keep doing that, I just expect it to continue to crawl up and for us to see a decent, maybe not absolutely epic, but decent move up for a summer run on CleanSpark. All right. Also, this is, yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, let's take a look at Mara's been a Bitcoin miner pretty much its entire existence. So let's go ahead and go all the way back to 2012 to see. So their first July 2012 was up 98% July 2012. That's pretty fantastic. 98%. Cool. All right. Let's have a look. It's very flat, but it was up 98% from the month before. That's amazing. Let's see. 2013 July was up 47%. All right, 47%. We had 100%, then 47% was 98. It was 100. Then 47%. Let's do 14th. 2014 July was up 6%. So significantly less, but still very positive. Let's take a look at 2015 July. That was up 3%. Again, small, but positive. So right now our range is anywhere between 3.79% and 98% for July, up. Let's take a look at 2016 July. We were up 8%. 2017 July, it was down 17%, so down 18%. That's our very first down year on that, and that was the year after a halving, so that might be more indicative of something we'd see in 2025 versus 2024, but that's important to note as well. It was down in 2017. They had a negative 18% year. For that, let's look at 2018 July. That was up 14%, so we're doing a little better than those other smaller years. 2019 July, we were looking at minus 27%. So 2019 July was a minus 27% year, so we've got two down so far. It was big, but there's only two. 2020, let's see, July 2020 was up 123%. That's the biggest move we've seen so far. That is the last post-halving July. If you keep that in mind, that was July was right after halving in May of that year, so 123% up on a halving year. So that's pretty exciting. 2021 July was down 11%, so now we've got 3 out of July 2022, which was again a terrible year, was up 143% in July 2022. Let's take a look at July 2023 was up 25%. So since 2012, we have only had 3 months of July that were negative. Every other month was positive, anywhere from 4 to 100 and what percent? 143%. So we're going to take an average of that. So we could go down, but I'm thinking we're probably going to go up. I'm going to lean on my bias here, which is to the upside, and we could move anywhere between 4 to 143%. So the lowest we're going to move is, let's get real small, up to $20.43. Basically, we would stay flat. The worst we could do is stay flat. The best we could potentially do is 143%. Let's take a look at what that would look like here. 143%. Gotta just barely move my mouse. We're going to do 142 if I can move it. Move. There it is. $48. We could potentially be at $48 if it did the same move that it did back in 2022, which was a plus 143%. Remember that the last halving year in July, we moved up 128%. So that would actually be, let's do 128% just for reference. But 143% would take us up to $48. So let's say 123%. well, it's 124, but it would take us up to $43. We would be at $43 on Mara if we got a similar move this July that we got the last July post halving. So that would be pretty amazing, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at potentially anywhere from flat to upwards of $45 on Mara here going into July. This is why I'm so bullish on July. July is so frequently green. It has been negative sometimes, but it is frequently green and often green in a big way. And especially on a halving year, we could see this thing get really, really big. Let's take a look at Riot. Now, Riot also has been mining for a really long time. Let's get back here. Wow, it used to be really, really expensive. Okay, we're not going back that far. We're gonna start in 2012. All right, that's where we're gonna start. I'm not doing that many. 2012, let's start in 2012. Okay, let's see. July 2012 was a negative 11 year. Okay, 2013 was a positive 27% year. Okay, 2014 July, we looked at a negative 15%. So Riot's kind of flipping back and forth here. 2015 was a positive minus 1%, so flat year. 2016 July was minus 4%. So they've got more negatives than positives on Riot. Riot July 2017 was minus 8%. Wow, they don't do very well in July for Riot, do they? July 2018 was plus 2. That's very, very weak. July 2019 minus 30%. Wow, Riot frequently does bad in the summer. That's some interesting information. Of course, this is not financial advice, not a suggestion advice to hold any asset whatsoever. Riot July 2020 was up 18%. That's a little more, encouraging, seeing that July 2020 was up 18%. Not bad, since that was the last halving year, and it'd be closest to what we're experiencing right now, especially with a lot of the good news coming through on Riot. Let's take a look here. July 2021 down 12%, but we kind of expect that because that's the year after the blow off top. Let's see, July 2022. This is the movement. This is the big one. Everyone had a really good year that year. That was up 74.7%. July 2022. Let's see July 2023 now. July 2023 was up 56%, even more than in 2022. That's pretty fantastic. So Riot kind of like flips back and forth. I am leaning closer towards a July similar to like what we experienced in 2020, but just for the sake of argument, let's map out what we could potentially see on Riot. So we could potentially see Riot see a July that comes by July, I should say by July, something that moves down between 20%, which would take us back down to 950, or even like up 60%, which would take us back up to almost $20 on Riot. So we could see anywhere. Riot's going to be a wild card, I think. I am feeling like, okay, so this is what is causing me to lean here. All right, so we got a bullish hammer candle at the bottom of a move here on Riot with a huge wick on bottom. If this closes even slightly green here, I'm going to be feeling very good about this candle here on Riot. We are going into months that are usually months of strength, like there's usually some kind of summer rally. If we look back here, March, like April, like May was up 76% in 2020. June was up a little bit, and July was up a little bit. In 2021, I think they were all down. May was down, June was up, July was down. So 2021 sucked. Let's take a look at 2019. No, 2018. I like the even years for this right now. We're looking at May was down, June was down, July was up. So usually there's some kind of summer movement in these things. It's not like a massive Riot is really all over the place, but I like this candle on the monthly for Riot. I like what's been going on right now with Riot. They've been executing on a lot of stuff. If they can tell us that they have increased their hash rate and are keeping it online some point between now and July, and we get good earnings in Q1, maybe even Q2 by the end, which they should be reporting before the end of July, we could potentially be seeing this thing move up to about $20. Like we could be seeing a more positive move on this with news catalysts that come through. Now, of course, we need those news catalysts, but currently we are printing a hammer at the bottom of a move, so that is a bullish looking candle going into the summer months here. Let's take a look at Bit Digital. Bit Digital, they started back here on March 2018, so we got a good amount of data here. So July 2018 on Bit Digital was up 56.52%. July 2019, let's see, everybody kind of did bad 2019, so let's take a look at what it was. It was actually down 63%. That's nuts. That's bad. But 2019 was honestly a bad year for kind of everyone, to be honest. Let's see about 2020. July 2020 was up 139%. And remember, July 2020 was the last July for these charts that had a halving year in it. So we are in a similar sort of year right now, right? We're in a halving year. And last time we had a halving year, July was a pretty amazing month for these things. July 2021 was also up 30%, and that was in the blow off top year, meaning everything was crashing to the ground that year. So July 2021. Or no, that wasn't the blow off top year. Excuse me. I'm all messed up. No, that wasn't. That was the year when we got the highest Bitcoin. Ugh, I got myself confused there for a moment. Uh, disregard any comments about that being that year. That'd be 2022 was the bad year. Excuse me. July 2021, yeah, it was up 31%. Let's see about 2022. July 2022, oh, Bit Digital did the worst out of all of them, only plus 6% on July 2022. And in July 2023, it was up 19%. So one only 1 year since they started trading publicly in 2018 has Bit Digital had a bad July. Only 1 year, which would have been in 2019, which everyone had a bad year that year, so I'm not super surprised. So for Bit Digital, we're looking for anywhere from a move between plus 6 and plus 139% for a summer rally on this thing. So let's take a look here where we currently are. We're looking at plus 6 would take us to $2.44, which would be very unimpressive and basically just flat. And 100 and what was it? What did I say? 129%? Where is that at? Where is that at? Yeah, 139%. Okay, let's see. 139%. What does 139% take us? 139, anywhere between flat and $5.58 for a summer run. That's what we'd be looking at, which would take us to making a newer high compared to the last two runs, which we got, which was last July, July 2023, where we made a high at $4.73, and then this December, where we made a high at $5.58. If we get that similar sort of run, which would really make Bit Digital printing like the exact same like repetition in their chart, which I've noticed Bit Digital likes to do a lot of repetition in its chart, likes to do big move and come down, be flat, big move then come down and be flat. I wouldn't be surprised if we made it to nearly $6 on Bit Digital this summer and then came all the way back down to $3 and then stayed flat until Q4 in 2024 before seeing another rally on that. So that's all I've got for you right now. That's why I think July is potentially, for the majority of the miners, probably going to be a pretty sweet month. Of course, this is not financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. It's just what I'm seeing when I look at these charts and this kind of information that I think is important to bring forward to back up some of the thoughts that I have about the Bitcoin miners and what they may or may not be doing this summer season. So with that said, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.